Hi, and welcome to our quarterly Q&A with trainingauthors.com. I'm Shelly Hitz, and I'm joined today with my business partner, Heather Hart.
Hi.
So we're excited to be here with you today, and we've had several different questions come in. If you have a question and you're on the live Q&A, you can post it on our event, and you simply go to trainingauthors.com/questions. Is that right, Heather? Yeah, questions.
Yes.
And that will forward you to our Google Plus event page, and then you can post questions there while we're live. So we're glad that you have joined us, and I'm going to go ahead and get started into the first question. The first question was submitted by CC, and they said, I would like to start my own publishing company to publish my work and eventually the works of others. I registered my trade name to incorporate later, and I intend to self-publish through CreateSpace via Amazon using my own ISBN to save on costs. Any tips you can give me? Well, CC, I actually just formalized our own publishing company this year. We started a couple years ago as a sole proprietor, and we formed an LLC this year. And I share all the steps that I took, and this is for U.S. Authors, but I share all the steps that I took with my recommendations and everything to try to help get you started on the right foot in our book, Self-Publishing Books 101. That book is currently free on almost all of the ebook platforms. It's available in Kindle, Nook, Sony, PDF, all kinds of different formats. So I encourage you to check out that book. And you can just go to our books page, trainingauthors.com/books, and you'll see it on there. But I highly recommend that you do start a publishing company. One of the reasons is because then you really are treating your books as a real business. And I think a lot of times as authors, one of the things that can happen is you just get caught up in everything else. Most people have other jobs, you have your family, you have commitments at church, school, work, all these things. And so, when you're incorporating, when you're setting up a publishing company, you're really setting down, like this is a real business and to treat it as such. And so, anyways, I recommend you read that chapter in our book, Self-Publishing Books 101. Did you have anything to add to that, Heather?
No, I think that's really good. We definitely cover it in the book, and like I said, you've just been through it, so it's all covered. Our next
Great.
question, our next question is from Barry. He said, "Thanks for offering such a worthwhile activity. I have been invited to attend my first book signing event as an author." Congratulations, Barry. The event
Yeah,
is
that's awesome.
He says the event is part of an alumni reunion gathering, and it will be held for roughly 3 hours during brunch time. The event typically attracts a few hundred alumni, and ideally, what should I bring to a book signing? I think the first thing I would recommend is checking with the host, the person who invited you, to see if they have any restrictions that you need to know about. You want to know how large of an area that you are going to be in, if you've got size restrictions or if there's anything you aren't allowed to bring in. After that, the things I would recommend bringing, as long as they are allowed, is you want to make sure you bring your own pens and markers for signing books. Make sure you bring a lot of them, because people are known to walk off with your pens or your markers, or if they run out of ink, you want to make sure that you're prepared to actually sign the books. And you also want to make sure when you're picking out your pens and markers that they won't smear. So gel pens aren't a good option. You just want to make sure that you've got a good pen that dries quickly and won't bleed through lots of pages. Take all those things into consideration. And then you're also going to want
to... One thing I've heard, I'm sorry, Heather, but one thing I've heard is that a Sharpie marker is great to use because it also won't fade over time. So that's something to consider.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of authors use those. So, and the next thing you're going to want to bring is books, in case somebody needs to buy a book for you to sign. And then I always recommend bringing something special to give away, whether it's a bowl of candy that people can take, some bookmarks that you can hand out, just something to leave with your readers and the people that you talk to, so they remember you, or they're like, hey, yeah, I got candy from them, or just make it memorable for them. And then if you've got the room, you should also bring display items to help attract people over to where you're at. It could be a poster of your book cover, just an accent piece to set on the table, just something decorative, but that can also be used as marketing. Darlene Shortridge wrote a post about setting up author booths at live events, and that might be helpful for you. It's on our blog at trainingauthors.com/authors-booths-at-live-events. And I'll post that in the comments there too. And then the last thing I recommend bringing is a good attitude. Book signings are about more than selling and signing books. They're actually mostly about making connections with the people that you meet. So the more upbeat you are, the more happy you are to meet your readers, that's what will really make the event go well for you.
Yeah, those are great tips, Heather. And we'll have all the links embedded also in our post where we post this replay for you guys. Another great tip is on our site. At the top right-hand corner is a search bar. You can always just type something in that search bar, like if you want to type live events, a couple posts will come up there that I think might be helpful for you. So thank you so much for submitting that question. I know book signings, that's a big topic, and I think Darlene is actually going to come out with an entire book on that topic. So once she does, we'll share that resource as well. The next question I have is from Mike. And he says, I struggle trying to advertise on Amazon and CreateSpace. I find their system is complicated for me, and I haven't found the formula yet to make the advertising do anything more than break even. So, having concentrated on getting my book, Snakebit, we're all Snakebit, into a few Christian bookstores with a smidge of success. But I know I need more advertising or better positioning or something. Appreciate your help. So first of all, I just want to say that as far as advertising goes, I don't know of a way right now to advertise directly on Amazon and CreateSpace through paid advertising. I do know they have a way to advertise for other physical products, but I don't know about like books and things like that. That's something that I'm pretty sure is not available right now. But if you get your book in Amazon's algorithms, and you have a free promotion, or you have a book launch, or you get a lot of reviews, those are the types of things that could boost your book and allow Amazon to begin promoting it for you for free. And so I talk a lot about that in Marketing Your Book on Amazon, 21 things you can do for free for increased exposure and sales, and you can find that at trainingauthors.com/books. However, there are some paid advertising things that we recommend, and one of those is BookBub. Now, BookBub is difficult to get into. You have to have a really quality book cover, not have very many errors in the interior, have it well edited, and have quite a few reviews. Now we'll put links on the replay page to the different requirements and what how they choose people. But BookBub, definitely, if you can get chosen by them, most people that we have heard that have used them have had very good success. Another place to get paid advertising is eReader News Today. They have a bargain book option, and on that bargain book option, you can, you have to lower your price to 99 cents, and they will promote your book. And, you just pay only for the books that sell, a percentage of that. So that's kind of a really great way to do a promotion, because you're not just putting advertising money out there and not sure if you're going to get it back. So that's another one we recommend. And we have tons of these resources in our book, Author Publicity Pack. And places to promote your book as paid advertising. Blog tours is a huge thing that we recommend, because you're tapping in to someone else's audience. So you're not having to build that audience yourself from scratch in the beginning. And we're actually getting ready for a launch. Our second book in the Book Marketing Survival Guide series is all about blog tours. So be looking for that launch coming July 30th, because we do highly recommend blog tours. They're very successful when done correctly, and when tapping in to really, bigger blogs and, better audiences. So, those are some things that we would recommend. Again, you can check out Author Publicity Pack at our books page. It's trainingauthors.com/books, and just scroll down to the bottom and you'll see it there.
And I also want to mention that if you are looking to promote your book directly on Amazon, the best way to market your book is by sending people directly to Amazon to buy your book. If you're selling your book on CreateSpace, you're not going to be seen on the customers who bought this also bought this section on Amazon. You're just going to miss out on some of their advertising that they do offer for free to authors. So if you really do want to be seen on Amazon, you need to point your readers there to buy your book. And our next question comes from Polly. She said, I'd like to know more about distribution companies. I've never heard of someone doing well with them, so is it worth trying to get one to work on your behalf? And I guess I just want to start by saying that most authors don't need bigger distribution for their print books until they have seen success online or locally. So if you really want to see your book in bookstores, you really should start locally and do your own distribution first, and then not try to get somebody to distribute your book to other stores until after you've already shown that it can do well. And along with that, you should remember that distribution companies aren't in charge of selling your book. They're just in charge of making it available. So even if they do get your book available to bookstores, you're going to have to show the bookstores that it's worth them stocking. You're going to have to show them that you can sell it. Those are just all things to consider. There are some distribution and sales companies that are paired together that will work on both for you, but they are going to cost more. We personally use CreateSpace to print our books, and they offer distribution for us, so it's something that we don't have to worry about. And I think that Print Book on Demand does that as well. Isn't that correct, Shelley?
Yes.
And then, when you do that, you should know that that bookstores like Barnes & Noble won't stock Amazon imprint. So if you've got a CreateSpace ISBN, they're not going to stock your book no matter what you do. So if you want to, if that's important to you, you should go ahead and buy your own ISBN under your own name versus the CreateSpace free one. We do have a whole bunch of other information about this on our website, trainingauthors.com/printbooks, and you can find out more about the different publishing companies and distribution options there. And if you do go with a company like Ingram Spark, which is provided by Lightning Source, for indie authors, it doesn't include distribution, but like I said, you should definitely start on your own and prove that your book can do it well before you start looking for a distribution company to work with.
Yeah, normally when you get expanded distribution outside of CreateSpace, if you're using other companies or other services, then it's going to cost money. So if your book is not already profitable, you're going to be, spending money to get your book out there. And so right now, in the beginning, the most important thing is to be working on your author platform, building your email list, and that's the next book that Heather and I are working on right now. We're in the process of writing it right now, of email marketing, so it's so important. But focusing on that, and then focusing locally, focusing in your local area, regionally, and then expanding. So those are great things to consider. But we have a ton more information on our website at trainingauthors.com/printbooks. So I recommend you check all of that out. The next question.
I wanted to add one more warning, that there are vanity presses that offer distribution, and I would warn against using those without researching them really well. You want to make sure that you know what upfront costs you're going to have to pay. Most distribution companies require you to pay for your books, and then they pay you back when they sell, after they take their cut and the bookstore takes their cut. So you want to make sure that you know how much you're going to get paid per book. Look for hidden fees and returns, because they will return books to you if the bookstore doesn't sell. Just trying to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting, so you don't end up paying for people to sell your books and you losing money in the long run.
Yeah, and it's really important to read the fine print and to look over it. Are you going to maintain the rights to your book cover? All of those types of things. We've just heard a lot of different stories from a lot of different authors where it just hasn't turned out to their benefit. So, just really look into those things as you're researching distribution channels. All right, the next question I have is from CY. And they say, I understand if you decide to write a book and publish to Kindle, a well-designed book cover is important. My question, where does one go to get a well-designed cover? I also notice, Shelley and Heather, your book covers are superb. How or where do you guys go to get such great book covers? And this is a great question because it is so important when you're publishing a book to make sure that you have a quality cover, something that is, eye-catching, something that the colors, coordinate with each other, that the fonts that are chosen are good fonts for book covers and so forth. And so again, we cover this topic in our book, Self-Publishing Books 101, which is free and available on most ebook platforms, but I just want to cover a few things on what makes a good cover. And, the first thing that we normally do is we brainstorm a concept. So we know we have, the book title or the book, something. Even if we don't have the official title, we know the subject that it's going to be. And so we start brainstorming concepts. And I love working with Heather because she helps me, and that's happened so many times, hasn't it, Heather, that we just bounce ideas, and that's how we end up coming up with an idea for a cover.
Absolutely. Two heads are definitely better than one when it comes to making book covers.
Yeah, and so, when you're working with your book cover designer, or you're working with an outsourcer, or somebody, maybe it's even just a volunteer that you're working with, or someone on Fiverr, or whoever you're working with for your book covers, it's great to be able to have a little bit of a back and forth and a brainstorming session, look through some different royalty-free graphics. So that's the next step after we brainstorm some concepts. We'll look through some royalty-free graphics. And we typically use Fotolia, and Fotolia also has a new company called the Dollar Photo Club, and the link to that is on our resources page if you're interested. And so, just start looking through different images and ones that we know we can have the rights to use those photos, and that brings up more ideas. And so, your designer, if you work with a designer, like several of my books, especially my books in the beginning, I worked with a graphic designer, Megan Six, and she and I would go back and forth. She would come up with a concept, and she would bring it to me, and then I would say, oh, I don't know if I like that one. How about something more like this? And she would go back and look for more images. So sometimes it's your designer that's looking for these images, sometimes it's you. But, you just look for some images that you can use on your cover. Now, depending if it's fiction or nonfiction, it's going to make it a little bit different. I would research on Amazon some of the top-selling books in your niche and see kind of what those covers are looking like, what's the general feel, theme, fonts, those types of things, and see what catches your eye, what do you like, and so forth. One thing that we've been using lately, and I didn't know that I would ever be interested in doing this, but we've actually used ebook cover templates for a few of our books. And Heather's husband is a graphic designer, and for the Self-Publishing Books 101, for the new cover, we started with a template, and he was really impressed with it, wasn't he, Heather?
He was. He's like, who did your cover? I didn't help with that one.
Yeah. And so sometimes Heather's husband helps us, which, it's nice to have a husband that's a graphic designer, but, for that one we used a template. We started with a template, and then we edited it and made it our own. We added our own images, and we customized it. But starting with a template can really help you with the process. And you can give that template to someone on Fiverr or your graphic designer, and they can change the colors, they can change the, how things are laid out and all of that. And so we've been using templates from CoverMania, which we do sell on our site, and you can find it on our courses page, trainingauthors.com/courses. And you do need to know how to edit a Photoshop file either with GIMP or Photoshop, or hire someone that will do it for you. Now, over the years, I have learned how to use Photoshop. I still don't know it to an expert level, but Heather and I both have, basic graphic design skills that we can make, graphics for our blog and for social media and things like that, and it really does come in handy. If you're interested in learning, we recently purchased the rights to a course that teaches you all the basics of Photoshop, and it's called PS Instant Expert. And it's where you can learn Photoshop for yourself. If you're interested, it does take a lot of time and effort. So you may just want to hire someone and get an outsourcer for that. However, that's also on our courses page if you're interested. And we also have a bunch of information on our outsourcer page on our website. And the way that you find that is you go to the trainingauthors.com, and across the top there's a resources tab. On that drop-down menu, you'll see a link to recommended outsourcers, and they have a whole list of things that you'll see, recommendations for graphic designers, for who to to hire to do your book cover, and you'll find, maybe it'll give you some ideas, maybe you'll find someone there that can help you, and so I encourage you to check that out. The link is trainingauthors.com/recommended-outsourcers-for-authors. But like I said, you can just go to our site, the drop-down menu for the resources tab will have it, or just in the search bar, type in outsourcers, and you'll find it. Did you want to add anything, Heather?
No, I think that's really good. I think when you do create your cover, you just want to make sure that it is eye-catching and not just slapped together, because it is the first impression that people get about your book. So it's worth going the extra mile and doing it right, and either paying to have it done or learning how to do it well.
Yes, exactly. And I would get feedback. So you can now anymore you can get instant feedback on social media. You can post a couple covers and say, hey, which one do you like better? What do you think? Or in an author group, I think that's a great place to get some initial feedback. Find an interactive Facebook group that is, of authors, and say, hey guys, what do you think of this cover? So you can get feedback initially and, know, am I on the right track if you are working with a designer and or doing it yourself.
Absolutely.
So did we have any other questions come in?
I haven't seen any.
Okay.
So.
Well, we are excited that we're doing this quarterly, and we're doing this for you. Because you guys have followed us, you're on our newsletter, you follow our blog, and we appreciate you. We really do. And the goal that Heather and I have for this site is to help authors. And so be looking for our next quarterly Q&A. We don't have a date set yet, but it will be sometime in the next quarter. And any questions that you have, this is your time to ask them, and we will answer them for you. And we're excited, to be able to offer this for you guys and as a service to you for everything, just a thanks to you for everything. So did you have anything else that you wanted to cover today, Heather?
No, I think that's it. I'm really glad that we can help authors like this, and I hope that we are able to continue doing so.
All right. Well, this is Shelly Hitz and Heather Hart from trainingauthors.com. Thank you for joining us in our second quarterly Q&A, and be watching for our next one coming up next quarter.